Hi, this is Kevin Souza. Have you made a decision today? Of course you have. We all make decisions every day, don't we? I made a decision back in 2005 to register domain names and to help people buy their own domains. And a domain, of course, is a www whatever. It's a website address, okay? And I decided to not only market those, but to help other people market the domains, and then everyone benefits from the revenue generated from the sale of domain names. In 2005, that was, well, 10 years ago, I decided to do that. In addition to my full-time job, I was working 60 hours a week, which meant I would have to come home from work, and instead of watching television, instead of complaining, oh, I'm so tired, instead of complaining, oh, I'm broke, but I'm so tired, I would have done that the rest of my life. I made a decision. And that decision was to learn, because I had no help. Not one single person helped me to learn how to drive traffic to my website so that I could convert sales. Nobody. I had to learn on my own. I was exhausted coming home from work, so I decided to stop watching television as a result of my main decision to earn an income that I could build large enough to eventually retire from the job market for the rest of my life. Big goal. Took 3 years. In 2008, the day before I turned 50, I fully retired from the job market, never having to have a boss lord over me for the rest of my life ever again. That was exciting. So the decision was made, and all the actions that I needed to learn and to do, in spite of my fears, I did it and figured out ways and means and did it. And so can anyone who makes a decision. A few years later, maybe 4 or 5 years later, I decided to start another business online. Now, when I became very successful and retired from my job, I must have had 10, 12, 15 offers a week from people asking me to join their business because I was successful. And they thought, if I can get Kevin Souza involved with me, then it will be easy street. So I never decided to change on purpose because I was already successful at what I did. You know, it's interesting. Most, if not all, of those people that approached me to join them in their business are no longer in their businesses. And so, good decision, wasn't it? Not to jump from one program to another, see a shiny object and go after it, right? But when I made that decision a couple of years ago to decide to sign up to another business, in addition to what I still have going on now, it's still thriving and profitable. It was not something I wanted to do right away. But I decided after 6 months or so to get happily involved, and that was the second best decision I ever made in my life. And the point of my talk about decision is this. When you decide something, all the actions necessary to succeed with that decision are not decisions, are not little decisions. For example, we have live events that we attend. My first live event for my second business was in Austin, Texas. And then we went to Chicago. And then we went to Orlando and Miami and Charlotte, North Carolina, and Orlando again. And now we're going to Las Vegas for a week. And here's what happens when you decide that you want to build a business for a reason, a specific reason as to what you want to do, or what you want to become, or, what you want to have. You made that decision, and all the actions after that are just actions. But lots of people will decide to join the business, but then it's a decision on whether or not they want to attend an event. I'm sorry, but if you're trying to decide whether or not to attend an event because, well, I don't have the money, find the money. You already made the decision to your dream. So the action of attending the event is more of a, how am I going to do this? Let me figure out the way to get myself to that event, that all-important event, which has to do with my main decision on my dream. Most people don't look at it that way. They look at every little action they need to do as another decision. If it's another decision, this is truth, because a friend of mine, business associate, the founder of the company that I'm, working currently, is David Wood. He said, and this resonated with me so very well, that when you make a decision about something, if you are making decisions about the actions that it takes that accompany that decision, then your original decision was not serious at all. Why? Because you don't believe it, or you don't want it strongly enough. Burning desire and faith are two essential ingredients when it comes to making a decision. Because then all the actions and activities that you do after that are not decisions. They're, how do I do it? How do I make it happen? You see? That's so vitally important. I have a success story on this decision-making process to tell you in the next few days, maybe a week, maybe less. And so stay tuned, because I'm going to talk about it in a blog post about somebody that I met years and years ago online, who has kind of been following me but has been joining one program after another since then and never fully committed to any of them. We had a discussion the other day, and as soon as we've accomplished what we want to do, I'm going to share that with the world, so stay tuned. Okay? I have somebody in my life, and they know who they are because I'm going to talk about them right now but not mention who they are, that I love dearly, and has a fear of flying in an airplane. A real fear about that. Another loved one has a fear about riding in buses. Okay? My question to you, I'm asking you this here, is, do you want to overcome that fear or stay a victim of your own fear moving forward? If you do want to overcome it, I have the solution for you that I can point you in the direction. In this blog post, like my last blog post, I put a link to a book, The Magic of Thinking Big, written by David Schwartz, that I read almost 40 years ago, the first self-development book I ever read in my entire life. And in, I believe, chapter 3, you can learn how to overcome your fear. I'll tell you this, I'll give you a hint. Action cures fear. And redirecting your thoughts when you're in that action of curing fear is how to cure the fear. And I want you to read it. Click on the PDF of that book in this blog post and read that chapter on overcoming fear, if you want to overcome that fear. And I know you would love to overcome that fear, wouldn't you? So, decisions are made about your goals, about what you want to achieve from that decision. One of the actions is to get to an event, and if you're afraid of flying, then you either have a desire to overcome that fear, or, and this is truth, the decision that you made was not a decision. Look at that decision first and make sure that's exactly what you want to do. And if it is, then you're willing to learn how to overcome the fears with respect to taking the necessary action subsequent to that decision. And you can do it because I believe in you. And you know exactly who you are that I'm talking to. I'm talking to two people right now. Okay? So you go ahead and overcome that fear. If you want to overcome it, read that book and put into action what that chapter says. I believe it's chapter 3 on overcoming fear. In the meantime, for those of you who are making decisions and then saying something like, I don't have the money for that, after that decision's made, the questions that you should be asking yourself is, how can I raise that money? Okay? I'm going to use a really offbeat analogy. If there was somebody you loved dying, and the only way to keep them alive for years to come was to raise $3,000 to $5,000, say, I'm just going to throw a number out, in order to do that, would you do whatever it took to figure out how to raise that kind of money to keep that loved one alive? The answer is obvious. Okay? Yes. Well, guess what? Keep your dream alive. The decision that you made to accomplish your dream had nothing to do with you saying, well, if I can do it, let me figure it out. No. Your faith and belief that you will achieve that decision you made, that dream, and your burning desire combined will cause you to ask, okay, how do I do it from then onward? Okay? So stay tuned for that example of a success story that I'm going to share with you over the next few days to a week. And you make that decision to accomplish your dream and then do whatever it takes and figure out whatever it takes to do all, not some, of the necessary actions to achieve it. So this is Kevin Souza, and you make it a wonderful day.